Putting the doom in doom scrolling, late night technology usage, and social jet lag in adolescence. Ongoing research suggests that there might be a correlation between your nighttime screen use and social jet lag. Doom scrolling, or the act of scrolling endlessly on social media platforms, has become a rising phenomenon due to the increase in short-form media, such as TikTok. Doom scrolling and unregulated technology use are primarily observed in adolescent and young adult populations, as smartphones and other electronics are introduced at earlier developmental stages. Researchers are particularly interested in the way nighttime screen usage affects the circadian rhythms of adolescents and how chronotypes modulate these effects, as sleep is crucial to their development. Our other research is focused on discovering the consequences of chronic social jet lag due to technology overuse in adolescent populations, such as decreases in the ability to engage in emotional regulation. Before moving on to a more in-depth discussion on how nighttime screen time contributes to the increased rates of social jet lag in adolescents and the societal implications tied to those findings, I will briefly run through a couple of definitions to ensure we are all on the same page. A circadian rhythm for humans is generally a 24-hour cycle or rhythm that consists of both endogenous factors, such as genetics, and exogenous factors, or zeitgebers, like light. The master clock that controls the entirety of the system and the corresponding bodily clocks, like the digestive system, is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the SCN, located in the anterior hypothalamus. Hormones also play an important role in the circadian rhythm. Melatonin promotes sleep. It begins to secrete in the bloodstream in the evening and increases until its peak in the early morning. Then, in the morning, when you are exposed to light, cortisol is released and helps in the wake process. A person's chronotype is the manifestation of an individual's distinctive circadian pattern, which consists of a culmination of genetic and environmental factors. There are two distinct chronotypes, early and late. However, individuals can exist on a spectrum between these two and will not always fall on either extreme. A late chronotype is someone who tends to prefer to sleep later in the night and wake later in the morning. An early chronotype, however, is an individual who tends to prefer to sleep earlier in the night and wake earlier in the morning. And finally, social jet lag is the misalignment between our biological clock, or our circadian rhythm, and our social obligations, such as work or school. So, how does it all work? According to existing research, the blue light emitted from devices used before sleep could contribute to circadian phase delay, meaning that an individual's internal clock is shifted later. The blue light from technological devices suppresses melatonin secretion, which, as mentioned earlier, is essential for the onset of sleep. Furthermore, circadian phase delay can then contribute to and worsen the effects of social jet lag. Consequently, there's a correlation between evening-type individuals and increased media use before bed. So, individuals may become stuck in a cycle of using technology for entertainment when they have trouble sleeping and risking further phase delays in their biological clock and increasing their social jet lag. Notably, adolescents and young adults between the ages of 19 to 29 generally identified with the later chronotype. Therefore, they're an at-risk group for overconsumption of media during the evening, which could lead to permanent social jet lag. Diminished sleep quality and duration both contribute to the exacerbation of social jet lag and the accumulation of sleep debt for adolescents and young adults. There are many negative side effects associated with social jet lag, especially during periods of development. There are psychological consequences such as irritation, anxiety, attentional issues, and substance abuse. Furthermore, there are social consequences such as poor academic and cognitive performance. Finally, there are physiological consequences such as metabolic disorders and obesity. So where do we go from here? The consequences of late-night media usage and social jet lag are detrimental and affect the majority of adolescent and young adults, especially those who are evening types. Some research has examined the relationship between curfew setting for electronic devices but found no significant correlation between electronic rule setting by parents and decreased social jet lag in adolescents. Some possible explanations for this result include that the electronic curfew had no impact on sleep onset of the adolescent, meaning social jet lag would still occur, non-adherence to the rule, and possible lack of rule setting on the weekend. It is important to note that nighttime device usage is only one possible instigator of social jet lag. Therefore, finding a solution to mitigate its harms would only be one step in the right direction. Nevertheless, it would be beneficial for the research community to continue deliberating on the best practices of technology usage to alleviate the rising issues associated with poor sleep quality and decreased sleep duration, which leads to an accumulation of sleep debt and a rise in social jet lag for the younger population. Thank you.